Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, friends, family all around the country and the world watching for exciting AWFL football here live from Allen Park, Michigan, a little suburb outside Detroit. You're going to be watching the Detroit Prowl at home against the Lansing Legacy from Mark Eglin Field. And again, to all the moms out there, I'm here with Frank Mazzella. We wish you a early happy Mother's Day. And Frank, good matchup, good weather. And we're getting ready for some of the exciting football here.
It's going to be a tough game here. Detroit definitely has to come out and make a statement here in the early going. This is a tough Lansing team, and they played them earlier and lost 35-0. Right now we're going to break for the national anthem here.
And here we are back, ready to start the opening kickoff. And Frank, you were mentioning before the break about the earlier matchup here, their first game of the season in Lansing.
So that game was on the road for Detroit. They lost 35-0. And talking to the Lansing coaches, they were short a few players that are back today. So Detroit's got their hands filled. They're going to have to come out and not have those penalties. They're going to have to make a statement here early and put the game to Lansing. That's the only way that they're going to win. They're going to have to play their game, stay away from all those penalties that we saw last week, and they're going to have to play a clean, tight game here today. This is a tough Lansing team as both teams right now going out to the center. Lansing comes in with a 3-1 record. One loss on the road down in Virginia. Tough, tight game as the team that they played is undefeated. And Lansing, that was their only loss. Detroit coming in here with a 2-2 record, beating Miffa twice this season. And a loss on the road to this Lansing team and a loss to Carolina. So that's where they come at 2-2. Knowing that the first 7 teams in each conference make the playoffs this year. First team in that conference gets a bye week. Then it looks like 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, and 4 and 5 play in the wild card round.
And as you mentioned last week, that was, Frank, last week was a big win for Detroit to get back into that mix. And they're going to be led again by their quarterback today, number 18, Ali Gorsica. Gorsica is going to have to get that arm loose and get some points on the board if they're going to have any match or any success against the Legacy defense today.
Well, we know that she's going to have to play her top game today. It's going to be tight there. I said to her, you got a little bit better conditions this week. You know, not as windy as last week. In fact, let's go over Frank's weather forecast here. About 80 at game time, sunny, winds out of the northwest at 11 to 15 miles an hour. So that isn't as bad as last week with a 27% humidity. So That's what we're playing with, a lot better conditions. Detroit's going to have to mix up their plays, keep the Lansing team off strides, and keep them out of their game. They're just going to have to, bottom line is Detroit's going to have to bring the game to them.
Well, they do have a pretty good ground attack. If it wasn't for the penalties last week, it seemed to be very effective on the ground. There are a couple players on Detroit that do have defensive and offensive. They both play both sides of the ball. I mean, you have Bug Patman, number 25. She had a turnover on defense that she created a turnover, and then rushed for a touchdown. And also their backfield by Lele Stramail, who also is a little bit more of not a power back, more finesse back, and can get to the outside. And that's what they're going to need to spread this defense out for Lansing.
Well, Detroit's just got to execute. They got to play their game. They got to stay away from the penalties, and they got to execute. If they're going to try some different plays, they got to capitalize on them. This is a game where you can't make errors because a good team like Lansing is going to capitalize on those errors. And that's going to really, they get a couple of scores that can really put this game out of the distance. So we see Detroit's going to kick off to Lansing, or Lansing's going to kick off to Detroit. We'll see how they'll play this first possession.
And as we get ready to get underway here, again, your last chance to hurry up, go to the fridge, grab your favorite beverage, wrap the Mother's Day gift, and, settle in for exciting AWFL action here from Allen Park, Michigan.
We want to thank everybody for tuning in to Go Live Sportscast on Roku, GoLiveSportscast.com, YouTube, or TCL channel 3080. Got a chance to talk to the head coach, Damian Goodwin, earlier. Looks like he's 22 years old, very young. That's going to come in handy when you're about 55, looking like you're 22.
And back for the kick. Back to the 25, straight up the field. Little hole there, decides to cut back to the left side, met by a couple Legacy defenders, spins off a couple tackles, rolls for about another 6 yards, and finally out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Good field position started off for the Prowl.
Good play, slow developing kickoff there. The return came to the sidelines, quick couple moves there, and got all the way to midfield. Good start for Detroit Prowl.
Danielle Curse on that run back. And Detroit, good start into the Legacy zone just to spot the ball at the 49-yard line.
26-yard return on the kickoff.
And we'll see how Detroit comes out here. Where they're going to try to push it right down the throat of Lansing in the middle of that defense. They're going to spread it out. We're going to see here in a moment.
Yeah, Detroit can't be so predictable on their offense. They're going to have to mix things up, catch people off guard and this and that. It might be a 3rd and 1 and you go for a pass. We'll see how they play it here in their first possession.
I formation, split 2. Hand off to the back. Patman rolls for about 5. It'll be second down.
Straight up the middle, handoff. Push got her about 5-6 yards. Good first play.
And just like that, go right to Bug Patman, who we mentioned a little bit earlier. North and south runner. Same formation. Second down. If you're just joining us here, Gorska hand off to Patman off the right side.
We got a flag instantly here. Looks like Detroit jumped on that. Offside defense. We got a call already. It's going against Lansing. Might have been the possible blitz coming there. Just a little bit too jumpy. First penalty of the game going against Lansing here.
So another 5 yards on that play, just short of the sticks there.
Now here's a play you got a lot of options. Still second down. Either you can throw a pass or you can run or you can just do what you want here. It's open.
Again, same, no substitutions for Detroit. Same formation. The tight end is backed up off the line just a little bit, single defensive back, and there's a handoff to Patman off the right side again. She bounces to the outside to the hash marks, and she'll roll for 4. First down.
There you go. First down, just to the outside, handoff, got what she needed. Those 4 or 5 yards, move the lines down. Looks like Detroit's going to play on the ground here a little bit. Maybe they'll change things up. But why not stay with you're doing good? Well, keep running that ball.
Their ground attack has been successful thus far this season. Another same I formation. Tight end on the other side. This time Patman goes right up the gut, but she's met there. No fooling anybody. And got lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage.
She got stuffed right there at the line. So now it's a second down and 10. Curious on how they're going to play this. I know they played it safe last week. They're going to keep it on the ground. They're going to try putting it in the air. Looks like Lansing's loading the lineup right now. They know what they're coming with, Detroit, so far.
One substitution in for Lansing, maybe to solidify up that another linebacker had come in. 3 up front for Lansing. Same formation for Detroit I-form split. There's Patman off the left side this time. Patman gets hung up there by an arm and swung down for about 1.5 yards.
Well, you can see what Lansing's doing right now defensively. They're moving up players right on the line. They're looking for that run. So they're going to have to, at some point, in an unpredictable down, throw that ball because Lansing sniffs it out right now.
Couple substitutions for Detroit. Atkin comes in. Third down and about a 9.5. So, again, it's going to be the time where Gorska's tested her arm, and we'll see what kind of raggle Coach Vitale comes out as Gorska comes into the shotgun. 2 backs split to each side of her, 2 split wide receivers. Lining up on that line, try to get the jump. Gorska rolls, steps to her left, a little screen to Patman. She catches it up over the 25 to 27-yard line.
Well, it was a nice call, a little screen to the outside. Just couldn't get enough yardage for that first down. So it's 4th down and short here. We're going to see how Coach Vitale plays this one here in the early going of the first quarter. Looks like he's lobbying for possibly somebody's down on the sidelines for Lansing. A player is down quickly here for an injury.
So I know that as of last week, we didn't get the injury report, but the kicker for Detroit was sidelined last week. So they had run all downs on 4th down. They tried every 4th down. They didn't try kicking it due to the injury of the kicker.
Yeah, we were talking about Coach Vitale, and I said he's got headsets on. I walked by him. He plays, Queen, We Are the Champions a lot in his headsets there. He looks like he's got a little gimp in his limp, but he still runs a 4.5 in the 40.
Yeah, well, with those bright pink,
he's
pink
like sort
shoes
of
on today.
You remember when Mickey Rivers played on the Yankees?
They're called Mike Pink Shoes Vitale. There is, again, this is cancer awareness here today, that you'll see a lot of pink on the uniforms for both teams and for a great cause.
Definitely. Vitale right now talking to his team here. Looks like they will go for it. I'm assuming they're going to go for it here on the 4th down based on what's out there on the field, both teams, as they work on the injured player for the Lansing legacy. He's in a tough situation, Vitale. Either you're gonna keep running that clock out and keep possession of that ball, keep running it, but you're going to have to get big chunks on your 1st and 2nd down in order to stay away from that pass game that, you want to eat that clock up and keep possession out of Lansing's hands.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see, some type of play action with Gorska rolling out and trying to use her legs to get to the 1st down. We've seen that a little bit last week, and Gorska can move a little bit. She does have some range of motion, and we'll see how it plays off as a Lansing injured player. It's a good sign. Up and walking off the field, and we'll resume play here with the Ball on the 27-yard line of Lansing. Short fourth and about 2.5.
Yeah, it's right on the 28-yard line there. So
big time in the game here. Early.
Yeah.
It's early.
Absolutely. I mean, this will set a statement. If they can keep their running game going and get a big play here on fourth down instead of turning over the ball, that eats up the clock, gives them some confidence that they can run on this Lansing team, if they're going to run.
I formation here. Everybody up for a little jump on the line, and it looks like Detroit jumped on the left side, and it's going to back them up about 5 yards.
So it looks like Lansing stacked the line there. See if they stay in there. It looks like they're going to still go for it on fourth down with an additional 5 yards on that penalty.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough, you're 35, a little too long for a field goal, the punt unit, and if your kicker's not exactly hurt, you might as well roll the dice. They're staying with the same play, it looks like, Gorsica. Patman, she's met there, not fooling anybody, and barely got back to the line of scrimmage on that. And there's a turnover on downs.
Nothing happening there. She got stuffed. It was like trying to throw a couple of those guys in that little cart there, but nothing happening there. Quick turnover, and Lansing gets on the field first to run their offense.
Kind of surprised about that call a little bit, Frank.
Yeah, it's very conservative at the fourth down. I mean, why don't you throw it? Just throw it. Try something different. If you're going to turn over the ball.
Yeah, it does. You're going to turn over the ball at the line of scrimmage either way.
Right. We'll see how that affects Detroit here and how they're going to play defensively against this Lansing team. Lansing hung 35 on them before in the first game of the season. So they're definitely going to have to hold them quite a bit. That defense is going to be relied on big time today.
So we'll see how Lansing comes in. Again, it seems that the wind is pushing left to right. Lansing across the field into our press box here. So, and we saw earlier in their warm-ups they were doing a lot of hash mark drills on the passing where they were doing a little mini post routes from that hash mark.
They were hitting on those passes too, so it was pretty effective in their practice there, running those plays, and they're going to just be doing it the opposite way. Look for them to be passing more to the right of the field offensively than the left side of the field.
Officials spot the ball. Officials place the ball at the 38-yard line of Lansing. First and 10.
So here we go. Lansing automatically out of the gun. One back in the backfield. Two receivers split to the left. There's an inside handoff on the line, and nothing going on there. Maybe loss of a yard.
Good play there by Detroit's line there. They snuffed that out. They could see it coming, that runner coming back against the grain, and picked her up and threw her down, probably about a yard gain.
Ward with the carry there on the inside, and she ran into a bunch of big bodies. Lansing again. Coming up the field, checking it out. Shotgun. Rolls to the right, misses one tackle. Tries to stutter step inside, bounces outside's got some room. To the 50, to the 45. Little stutter stepping out at the 38-yard line of Detroit.
Good play by Lansing. The whole offensive line pulled to that left side. Had a big open field on that side. Ran it till she got out of bounds. They loaded that left side, the offense of Lansing. Had the receivers on that side, and the offensive line pulled to that left.
So I don't know if that was Speaks. Apparently she has some legs on her there for sure. First down. Same from the gun again. Here's a handoff. There's a wide hole to the left side. A first down and more up to the 26-yard line of Detroit.
Big hole. The offensive line just made a huge hole. First down again. 2 big plays back-to-back, and Lansing's in business here. Detroit's going to have to slow them down. Think about something here. Either load up that right side of the defensive line or do some play changes here.
I don't know if that's giving Lansing a little more time lining up from the shotgun. Same formation, 1 back deep. There's about 10 yards deep almost, 8 yards deep. There's the cadence. There's another snap around to the left side. Nothing going on. Tries to bounce back inside and met there. Only got 2 on that play.
Looked like a broken play there. Wasn't the way it was designed. Quarterback went to the right, went to the left, and then running back got that ball. Was kind of surprised by that handoff. Nothing there as Detroit stopped that.
So second down and a little ways, almost 10 for the Lansing team. Again, another same formation in the shotgun. Back in behind, there's two receivers out right, 1 up top to the left. Dime package for Detroit on defense. Drop back, pulls it down, rolls to the right. Pressure, caught in the backfield. She still spins out of there, gets it off, and complete.
What a play there. Getting away from that, the possible loss and the loss of down there for Detroit. She got away, and you could see that she was going to go to that right side. Both the receivers were loaded on that right side and made something out of nothing.
And Stanislawski with the reception on that.
As Lansing just keeps moving that ball, making the plays when they need to.
So we got a 3rd and 4. Again, just a switch for the receivers, same formation for the Lansing team. Big 3rd down here. There's a snap over the middle, quick pass. Oh, and dropped. And had the pass in her hands, took a step, and just couldn't grab it in.
Just couldn't hold it long enough. Nice play execution-wise. I see Detroit hasn't loaded up that line yet, or they're not showing any kind of blitz so far. At some point, Detroit's going to have to load up that line, keep Lansing thinking and guessing, maybe show a blitz once in a while.
So we'll see how the coaching staff for Detroit, how they're going to line up. Looks like they got the
Looks like they're loaded on the
dime package there. Still, now the defender's starting to come up into closer to the line, and there's somebody jump
game?
movement, delay a game. Take your pick. On Lansing. So that's going to be a big penalty there and a big break for the Prowl on this.
pushes them back 5 yards. Couple of penalties against Lansing so far. So far, Detroit only 1 penalty, I think it's been so far today.
4:40 on the clock, fourth down, and approximately 9 to go now. If you're here just joining us from Allen Park, Lansing in white with the ball. From the gun, there's the snap. Hurst looking around, nothing going on, good coverage. She's got some room to run, though. She pulls it down, one person to beat to the sticks, and she gets the first down and a big run there.
Good play. The quarterback just kept the defense guessing if she was going to come back and throw that against the wind there, and she just ran it out and picked up the first down. going to the far sidelines.
So, speaks for Lansing. It was good coverage by Detroit. Did not see that receiver open. And unfortunately, the line just could not get over to that right side to stop that lane. And she scampers out for a first down now. And, boy, that was a big play. Back to the gun now, Speaks says. She looks over. Prowl come up, a few more in the box. There's a pitch. Stanislawski met in the backfield, spins off one, cuts back to the left side. Nothing going on there. Tackled. Oh, she's not down. There's finally down after a tough run of 2 yards.
See, Detroit's going to have to put more people on the line defensively. They're seeing the shotgun a lot of times here so far in the early going. That could have been a loss against the Lansing Legacy. They got back to the line of scrimmage here, but Detroit definitely has to show more guys on the line there, more gals, and show the blitz.
So Stanislawski with a hard run for 2.
Back to the shotgun again here, Tommy.
And it's been quite effective, giving him a little more time. Back, taking a look, rolls to the outside for the right. She escapes one player. Looking around there, Matt, nobody can grab her. She spins off of a couple other tackles. They're trying to get her out of bounds, and they finally do. But not after she gained about 3 yards on that. Third down.
They had her in the backfield, just couldn't wrap her up, and she kept on running. Bringing that ball forward, big run there as they keep on working at Lansing, even in the shotgun. Many options for the Legacy here in the early going of the first quarter. Actually, late in the first quarter.
Good coverage by the defensive backs for Detroit, taking away the passing option and forcing Speaks to sit there and pull the ball down to run. So we got third down and a 10. Spears again back of the shotgun. Stanislawski to her left. She's going to throw. Looks there, coverage everywhere. Good coverage. Look out and got her in the backfield, converged on and dropped her back at the line of scrimmage.
Good play by the defense there. Detroit had the ends coming in on both of the defensive ends, and they couldn't go either way. They were trapped. She was trapped there. And a big play by Detroit's defense here late in the first quarter.
Beautiful call on defense there, having the safeties, having those defensive backs blitz on there. And as you said, Frank, nowhere to go but back to the inside where she was met.
Well, Detroit closed it off on both sides while she was scrambling. She couldn't go to the right, she couldn't go to the left, and went to the left and got gobbled up.
So again, 4th and long here from the Prowl 16-yard line, 17-yard line. There's the snap. Looks to the left, pulls it down to run inside again. Nothing there. Bounces back inside. Run a little S route there, but runs for about 4 or 5 yards, but that'll be it. And turnover on downs. Big defensive stop by Detroit.
She did a little curly shuffle there, but she couldn't get it enough for that first down. And good defensive play when it came to the red zone there. Detroit bent, but they didn't break there, and they'll take over.
That's good for definite, as you mentioned earlier, confidence is what you call it, right?
Definitely a good confidence booster for Detroit. They know that they can stop this Lansing team when they play their game, when they play defensive the way they want to play it, and they control the tempo of this game. Now, offensively, they're going to have to adjust some things.
Safety way back for Lansing. Stromile in the back field. Little motion there. Gorsica from the gun. Stromile goes to the left. Gorsica decides to cut inside. Bound 1, bound 2, and a good for a first down after a carry of 11.
Nice play I don't know if it was developed to do that, but she had a good run. Looks like she's all right. Everybody's all right on that play. Looks like everybody's getting up. That's a first down there, and
So we'll go to the second quarter with the score 0-0 here from Mark Eglin Arena. Gary, grab your favorite beverage and come on back and join us on Go Live Sportscast.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter which you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't.
Okay, back with the action here at Go Live Sportscast. And Frank, there was an illegal procedure penalty on that last play, so instead of ending a quarter, it backed up Detroit on that penalty.
so that'll nullify that big run. And now those switch ends here. They had 2 seconds left on the clock. And we talked about at the beginning of the game here, penalties, they got to stay away from them. And that really hurt them right there. They had a big opportunity to gain a first down, and that play is called back.
And it seems that a majority of the plays, penalties, even from last week, were the time they were either offsides or illegal procedures. And that's just something that, I don't know how. Maybe not everybody's on the same page. Maybe it is the cadence of the quarterback, or I don't know how you stop that. Maybe is there an answer?
Well, how do you gotta get in some kind of rhythm here. The Detroit team does. The Prowl's got to get in the rhythm here. They got to mix up their plays. They're going to have to pass to win this game, to keep this game close. Right now they're in this game, and they're where they want to be with a 0-0 tie at the beginning of the second quarter. But at some point, if you're going to keep on running the ball, that Lansing team just going to stack that line and sniff it out every time. You're going to have to come up with some other plays and make them effective and work.
And again, as we go into the second quarter, a couple big defensive plays. Teams getting close inside each other's territory, but the defenses from both teams come up big, and that's where we stand here to start the second quarter with Detroit having the ball, 1st and 15, back inside their own 10-yard line. So they're about their 8-yard line. Gorska lines up in the shotgun. She's got Stromile to her right. Gorska back, no pressure. She decides to pull it down, run off the right side and tackled, and barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. Second down.
All right, so she's going to the shotgun more, but she's still running with the ball. Either she can't find a receiver, or that's excellent coverage by Lansing, or a combination of the two.
It looks like that where they're, she's in the shotgun, but as soon as she drops back, there is no pressure. The Lansing line is just daring her to throw it on them. There's no pressure. So we'll see if there can be an adjustment by Gorsica, if they can do some short slant routes to offset that. But anyways, we have second down and still 15 yards. I formation. Gorsica hands it to the deep back, and she'll plow for about 2 yards.
Nothing happening there. 2 runs. Quarterback out of the shotgun and a handoff to the running back. You're stuck in this situation now, 3rd and long, and a tough situation to be in. And your end, you got to run a conservative play here, or you're punting again, because this is deep in your end. You're not going to go for it on 4th down here.
That's for sure. They're going to have to do something to get that ball out there somehow. Let's see if they run a screen, but even if you're running a screen, it's Lansing they're not rushing anybody.
Right now, Lansing's just staying home, and that's pretty effective.
Patman in the backfield. Gorska under center, hands it to Patman. Off the left side. She gets a little push. She keeps rolling and gets about 5 yards on that carry.
Well, he tried to roll that to the outside, the open side of the field. The big side of the field just couldn't get enough help there, the pulling guards, and it's a punting situation here on 4th down. 19-yard line in Detroit. Last week their punting game wasn't too effective.
Yeah, the kicker was out last week, so that's why they rolled it every 4th down. They rolled, and we'll see what happens here. They're forced to kick here. So, Gorska County, she's the short person on theirs. They're getting everything lined up, and they got the wind in favor, though.
The wind is sort of going across the field, so it's not directly in their favor, but
a bad snap, a fumble, kicks it off, hits a couple people, scooped up by 75, and Lansing starts in great field position at the Prowl 6.
Well, it was a snap, and just couldn't handle it. Hot tomato on her hand, and there's a turnover deep into Detroit's end, and Lansing looks to capitalize here in the second quarter.
Absolute nightmarish
Their
scenario.
kicking game. They need to rent a punter or something.
Absolutely nightmare situation, and no, Coach Vitale didn't want that to happen, and defense hopefully could come up big here for the Prowl. Is now Lansing with this beautiful, hey, it can't get any better than here, except for if you're on that goal line, right? 1st and 10 from the 6-yard line.
Looks like it's at the 7-yard line, back in the red zone for Lansing. You know, they came up big, Detroit's defense, down in their red zone in the first quarter. See if they can stiffen up here again against Lansing.
Girl in motion. Shotgun, one back. In behind. Spears, snap is low, but she's just going to run it herself off the left side. Spears going to dance into the end zone. Touchdown, Lansing.
She just kept on coming to the outside looking for some blockers, and she gets in, and they capitalize off that bad snap punt instantly on the first play in the red zone, and they strike first with a quick 6 here in the second quarter.
Boy, that was just like that.
Slow developing play, just kept it and ran, kept to the outside, directed some of her blockers, and she got in. Looks like they're going for the 2-point. No, actually going to kick this one for the extra point.
There's a snap, little high, bobbled, gets down there, and a good recovery there.
Nicely executed there on the extra point.
So just like that, 7-0 on a turnover, and then conversion on the first play of a running play, and Detroit finds himself down by 7, Frank.
Well, Detroit was staying close there until that snap of that punt. They had their game. They were staying close there, and quickly Lansing capitalized on that run and quickly got a 7-0 lead here. Not the way Detroit wants to be in this situation down. They just need to keep this game close as they'll receive this kickoff from Lansing down 7-0.
So Coach Vitale, I'm sure on the sidelines trying to say, hey, listen, let's keep our composure here. We're only down by a touchdown. We moved the ball our first time. The second time we got another couple penalties that really killed the momentum after getting a legal procedure to end that quarter after Gorska's nice run. And again, the nuts just came off, the bolts came off the wheels there.
Detroit's going to have to put some better plays together offensively to get more yardage and keep the Lansing offense off the field.
Stromile tries to pick it up. She's down back by her 27. She mishandles the ball, and Lansing will cover it. And another turnover by the Prowl, and That was just an odd play. Stromile bounced overhead. She tried to recover. Didn't look like she wanted to go into the scrap. She tried picking it up with her hands, and by that time, she had the Lansing defender all over her to take the ball away.
You know, it looks like she had her hands on it, so she should have recovered it, but I think she started looking up real quickly instead of just falling on that ball. And quickly, Lansing is in Detroit territory again.
So
this is not the way Detroit wrote it out here. They don't want to be in this kind of situation, fighting an uphill battle against this Lansing Legacy team.
yeah, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. In these last couple plays, sometimes you just can't take them back. You need a big play right here, a turnover or something to get these girls' momentum back, get their confidence back, and let's see if the Prowl defense can do that. Down in the shotgun again. Speaks is there's Selengowski up the left side. Selengowski bounces off a couple defenders. Her long legs roll for almost 10 yards.
Hole in the offensive line. She just went right through it. Detroit got to slow her down, finally tackled her, but a good run as she moves the chains.
Boy, she's a tall girl, Tan Selengowski. I believe they got the sisters on the team, but she gets going forward, and that length, she has some power, and trying to pull her down seems to be a task for some of these Prowl defenders. We got a timeout.
So Detroit calls a timeout here. What I'm seeing so far is Lansing knows how to execute on their plays. They run their routes. They run their plays real strong, and they're gaining on them.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's execution, and they're keeping it real clean. I mean, execution and errors, and the errors so far have been on Detroit Prowl. The fumble on that kickoff and the fumble on the punt. 2 plays that right now it's still only 7-0, but Lansing looking to strike again here, possibly make it 14 or more.
And again, we'd like to thank Dell's Pizzeria in downtown Trenton for being a provider of all things deliciousness.
There you
Dell's
go.
Pizzeria on West Jefferson in Trenton. Go give them a visit today and tell them Frank Mazzella said hello.
Tell them Tommy Morris sent you. They'll say, who's Tommy?
They all do. But back to the action here, and they're just hoping here that the home team can rally here, make some big stops, and start out good first quarter there, Frank. 0-0, and just in a couple of minutes here.
The game switched quickly there.
There's a handoff. Big Slonowski again. Barrels up the left side for about 4, and that'll bring up second down.
Same play as last play. They're using that left side of that offensive line, creating some havoc for the Detroit defense. And they're going to keep on running that play, getting the yardage that they need to score here in the red zone again.
Number 26 with the stop, Lori Grutter. Ball is at the
So second down and almost 6. And the same formation that they use, as she speaks, has not lined up under the center. It's always been there. It's that little slant inside, complete. And, she didn't complete it. Nice defensive play to punch that ball out of there at the last minute.
Looked like she was going to gobble that up and go in for 6. Just couldn't get the stickum on them. Incomplete pass. We're in a third down situation.
Toya Chenal with a very, very, very good play there.
So it looks like see if Detroit can stiffen up here on third down, deep in their end. It'd be a big stop if they could hold Lansing to possibly no points here, the midpoint of the second quarter.
Yeah, that was that play. I'd seen him run earlier all practice long, that quick slant inside. And if it wasn't for a very, very good defensive play there by Chenal.
She was all over her.
So they have the Prowl defense spread 2 wide. Shot in the shotgun with one back. Now Stanislawski steps up. Spears barking out orders, telling to watch the right side. She rolls to the right, does a little stutter step jig, pressured, has to go back to the left. She escapes. A little fake there. Stiffs arm, but Stromile grabs her, makes a nice play, and tackles her out of bounds at the 12-yard line.
Had nowhere to go. Detroit just kept on pursuing there. Forced her out of bounds here, and we got a 4th down situation here. 4th and short. Actually, see where the mark is there. Going to be a 4th down situation.
So Speaks didn't see anything again and pulled it down, tried using her legs, and Stromile a nice play to stay in her position, Frank. She didn't get lost, didn't over pursue, and
this is a 4th
cut that corner.
Yeah, this is a 4th down.
So we got 4th down and a long 5. Big
yeah.
play right here for sure on defense for the Prowl. They got to come up with something big. Speaks again in the shotgun, barks it out. She pitches it out. Stanislawski has a little corner there. She can get there, pursued and pushed out of bounds. The sticks, and a great defensive play by the Prowl, and they will get the ball back on downs.
Detroit needed that play. They needed that stop. They needed to stay in this game, and that's what they did. They came up big. They made a 4th down stop. They get that ball back. This is going to give them a lot of confidence right here. They need to play their game right now.
And a couple big plays on defense by Toya Chanel with the breakup of the pass on the inside and then running Stanislawski out to the outside, pushing her out of bounds. So really good defensive series for Toya Chanel.
We'll see how the offense plays this off of that turnover of 4th downs. Looking to run behind Allison Reese, big number 77. She'll clear the line a little bit, the offensive line person there for the Prowl.
I think there's probably a good time for a couple play actions here, Frank. You know, you do the play action, and just like you mentioned prior, to throw that ball down the field, you start keeping that defense,
keeping them honest
guessing.
Because, absolutely, got to mix it up here. You got a little bit of wind. It's going cross field, but definitely change things up because looks like Lansing is just sniffing out run all the time, and that's what Detroit is doing right now. They're going to have to change things up a bit here.
Yeah, Lansing showing no fear of anything on offense, and that can be a problem, and we'll see if they can loosen up here. Gorska now in the shotgun, directing some traffic. She has 2 receivers to the right, 1 left. Patman in the backfield. There's in motion. There's a pitch. Fumble there, and it is on the ground, and Lansing again on the turnover.
Well, we talked about changing things up, but that wasn't in the playbook, the fumble. Looked like it was a pitch with the running back or the receiver coming across, and she just couldn't put the hands on that and hold on to it. And quickly, one play, and the ball's back in Lansing's hands.
And Lansing, again, the 3rd turnover, finds them in great field possession now. And this, your defense now is on the field an awful lot. You got a couple players that play double duty out there, Patman and Stromile. And so now you're wearing, a couple of your bigger offensive players down on defense. So that could be even worse later on in the game.
Well, they're going to have to count on their defense again here to stay in this game. They've got no other options here late in the 2nd quarter.
So Speaks again in the gun, barking it out. Rolls left, looked left, comes back out left. Speaks, steps inside the 10 and thrown down at the 9-yard line.
Good play there. She ran that ball, did the curly shuffle, got enough yards here on 1st down. They've got some options here on 2nd down in the red zone against this Prowl team.
So a little receiver in motion to try to flood that left side, and Prowl will sniff that last play out. Big 2nd down here. We'll see.
Starting to see some hands on the waist of the Detroit defense team. We know traditionally that means you're getting tired. Hopefully that's not the case here.
dual stack receiver on the left for the Legacy. Single back to Stanislawski. Steps back inside, sees end zone, touchdown, Lansing.
Big hole there. She wasted no time there on second down. They just picked apart that, using that right side of that offensive line, picked the Detroit defense apart and weaved into the end zone and got another touchdown here.
Boy, that was and they're going for the point after here, Frank, but that was it's a tough one.
More points after the turnover, so they're Detroit again shooting themselves in the foot here.
Better snap this time, but it's blocked.
So that'll keep it 13-0 here. Detroit's going to fly off like a bird on that block.
So we have 6:18 left to go in the half, and we'll return after a message from our sponsors on the Go Live Sportscast. Welcome back to the action here. 13-0. Lansing, who's ready to kick off to Detroit Prowl, in the lead. 6:18 here left to go in the half. Here's the kick. Back to the 35, up to the 40, over to midfield. A little bounce there from Curse, and she rolls inside to the 44-yard line to Lansing.
Good return. They held on to the ball. They're in Lansing territory here on first down. Detroit needs to capitalize on this now that they have the ball in Lansing's territory. They've got to hold on to that ball and make some yards here.
So again, Frank, what do you suggest now? You got 1st and 10, 44. What are you looking to do on first down here?
I would shake things up here with a quick pass or something different than what is predictable here on first down. Down 13-0. You're going to have to get some points here before the half.
So here they go up to the line and Pat, and in the back, Gorska from the gun.
Looks like that right side is loaded.
Split 3 receivers to the right. There's the snap, and over the right side, hit the hands, and big defensive stop there is Atkins could not get a handle on that.
They did what I mentioned. They just couldn't execute it properly. Had your hands on it, you got to gobble that thing up and bring it down and bring it in.
2nd down and 10. Clock still running, 5:40. So let's see what they do here. Maybe another little play action, Frank. What do you think? Another pass, play action, and
yeah, maybe a play action quarterback bootleg, something different. They got to keep this Lansing team thinking here defensively.
Well, they backed up the box there, so Lansing isn't coming in quite as much. Split 3 receivers wide again. There's a handoff inside and met. No one
looks
took
like
that. And
looks like they'll lose 4 on
Jamie
that one.
Urbani met right there as soon as she got the ball.
That's a Shazami. So now you're in a tough situation. You're 3rd and long, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 15.
So nothing seems to be working here for Coach Vitale and the Prowl offense.
Right at the 50-yard line, they'll run this 3rd down play here. Don't have a breakdown on how many long gains Detroit has had this season, but they're in that situation right now. They need to get one.
Seems like Gorska trying to get on the same page, and that's going to be a little too much time, and maybe a timeout called, or nope, didn't get anything away there, delay a game, and they're going to be backed up another 5 yards, and we'll bring up 3rd down and 20 now.
Make things a little tougher on yourself here. 3rd and 20. Going to have to play it pretty conservative unless you got a breakout play that you're going to know that's going to work here.
Look at Lansing loaded up everybody. Patman gets to the outside on that little screen but has nowhere to go and is met by a couple of Lansing defenders, and they'll get the ball back on downs inside the Detroit, on the Detroit side of the field.
So they had an opportunity. That first play, that first pass should have been gobbled up. They dropped it. Good defensive play by Lansing. And then they shot themselves in the foot a couple times. One to the right, one to the left. And here we are. They're in a punting situation. And Detroit's got to hope that this punt is clean here. Already had one of those punts fumbled and cost Detroit.
Here's the snap. It's good. Kick is low, but got a good Detroit bounce and goes inside the 30-yard line to the 25 and down at the 23-yard line where Lansing will take over. So
well, it was more of a line drive punt there.
It was effective.
Got the job done. That's
right.
Definitely a good roll, and they needed that here with 2:49 left in the second quarter.
So again, as Frank mentioned, the story, bunch of turnovers by Detroit, a bunch of penalties on offense, and after a good first quarter, now they're going to have to face a 2-minute offense by the Legacy.
We'll see. Detroit definitely could use a turnover here defensively late in the second quarter down in deep in the Lansing end.
And, hey, we have another game coming up here at Mark Eglett Field. We invite you to join us
next Saturday against the Carolina Tigers right here in Allen Park.
And that should be a good one. We have a good turnout today here. Again, the day before Mother's Day, and we, again, wish all the mothers watching and the participants here, their mothers, a very happy Mother's Day. Hope you're enjoying this telecast today. There's Speaks, gets the ball, has Stanislawski right up the middle. She's met there and nothing going on. Back to the line of scrimmage.
So we'll see how Lansing plays this offensively. Are they happy to go to the locker room here up by 13-0, or are they going to want some more here? Right now they just played a conservative run game. No gain there. Detroit was up to it.
Clock ticking down. We do know that they have some timeouts left for Lansing. Again, that same formation. Speaks back, and Stanislawski behind her, 2 split left. There's a motion. Pitch to Stanislawski, beats one defender, gets outside, steps inside, down the sidelines to the 29-30 and out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
Close to that first down marker, just couldn't get to it. Looks real close there. Either it's going to be a third down situation here, or they got the first down. Looks like it's going to be a third down situation for Lansing. Looks like Lansing will.
Yeah, use one of those timeouts.
Well, we got a player down.
Oh, the
2-minute timeout. So you see Lansing right now, Coach Damian Goodwin, head coach there, talking to his team across the field there. They, right now with a 3-1 record, I was informed that the top 7 teams in each conference make the playoffs. So Detroit, as it is going to make the playoffs. Where they're going to be at, or where they're going to, who they're going to play, is still going to need deciding.
Well,
here.
that Carolina team is coming in next week here. They're no easy match.
No, after losing to Carolina earlier this season, I think it was 13-6 down in Carolina. So they come here. Right now they're at a 2-2 record, and a 3-3 record's going to get you in the playoffs, with the first place team getting a bye in the first week of the playoffs.
So Lansing here, we have 1:56 here left before half. We have a third down and about 3 to go here. A big down here for the Prowl. They could get the ball back. They make a couple good stops here. There's a quick to the outside, a nice grab by 13, and she gets the first down, rolls out of bounds at about the 38-yard line, and a beauty one-handed catch there.
So that will get her the first down. They'll move the chains here. 1:49 left in the second quarter. Lansing still trying to get some more points here late in the second quarter. They're not satisfied with only 13 points so far in the first 2 quarters.
Again, 2 slot receivers up top, 1 bottom. There's Speaks, looks back, going inside, almost picked off. Beautiful read, but just through the hands of Alicia Craig, and she had a lot of green in front of her if she would have picked that off.
That would have game changer right there. That would have been a big game changer right there. She could have took it back for 6, right through the hands, something they're going to have to capitalize on. And good teams are going to have to capitalize on those plays in order to turn games around and be back in them.
So you go from almost a pickoff with a lot of green one way to moving the sticks, and new set of downs here. And Stanislawski right next to Speaks. 9 up in the box there. Speaks rolls up, nothing down there. Pressured, trying to get to the outside, throws it, complete. Up to the first down marker, rolls, but didn't quite get there, maybe with the outreach of the ball, but nonetheless, Lane, a beautiful, beautiful grab, their top receiver on Lansing, and just short of the first down.
Well, they rolled out with that, was designed, looked like design run. Eventually it became a pass, and good play by the quarterback and the receiver on that. Looks like we've got a player down.
Well, I'm surprised with the it showed you, Speaks can run with the ball, but when she was on the run, that was a pretty good zip pass for sure, and showed a little strength of the arm there of the quarterback for Lansing.
So the ball is actually two yards, maybe 2.5 yards short of that first down where it's marked at right now. This will be a third down situation for Lansing with 1:26 left to go here in the second quarter.
Again, anything can end up happening. They're kind of holding them a little bit. It's almost like the bend but don't break, but as soon as you bend, and then just can't hold the bend enough.
Well, you got to hold them this half. You're down 13-0. It would be such a hill to climb going down with more points just before the half. You've got no choice here. Either you're gonna bend or you're gonna break, and scoring 6 here, adding to that 13, it's 19, possibly 20-0. That's really a jagger there. I mean, it's not impossible, but
time to send everybody in on Speaks and Stanislawski there, because those players have started from the backfield there with both of those two. So send everybody, bring the full house out. Now Speaks over the line. She's going to run from there, and she sniffs out gets the first down, and a beautiful call there by Speaks.
Quick quarterback sneak right up the middle.
They line up quick again. Move the chains. First down, clock running. Well, no, clock's not running, but. Oh. Bounces back to the outside over stutter step. Nothing going down there. Put out of bounds at the 46.5 yard, 47. Second down.
So just a pass to the outside there.
Lance Smile, number 27, and Lexi, correction, Danielle Curtis, number 9, and Scott. Brings up second down.
So they're rolling a little quick here, trying to get up to the line quick. Speak surveys the situation. The Prowl walk up to the line a little bit more. Speaks drops. Speaks looking. Steps inside. Right back up to the stick marks, but nothing going on. Barely got back to the line of scrimmage, and I'll bring up third down with the clock running, and a timeout is called.
So it looks like Lansing called a timeout here late. 25 seconds left to go here in the second quarter. They did call a timeout. They're going to talk things over here. Looks like it'll be a second down or third down on this play. At this point, are they going to go with the Bomarewski? Down the field, throw the Bomarewski?
Why not go with the quadruple reverse Statue of Liberty?
There we go.
You're right.
Some vintage football.
Something, yeah, let's see the old. I know one thing.
Let's see the old helmets, the leather helmets.
Coach Vitale would not be happy if there was a Lombardi play used against his team for a score.
Right, definitely. All this time he thought Lombardi was on his side.
Yes. The coach would be making him run laps if that occurred.
So Detroit's going to have to stiffen up here, keep this a 13-0 game to take it to the halftime. We'll see what Lansing has up their sleeve.
There has been a couple positive points for Detroit, except for those couple minutes with all the turnovers, a 5-minute period of time, 6-minute period of time. And one of them has been the defense so far, coming up with almost a couple big plays, just holding them there. So we got 3rd and 6 here. Speaks back in the shotgun. There it is, some motion, and there's a reverse again around the left side, around the right side. Nothing going on. Good pursuit, stutter step, and forced out of bounds right back at the sticks. Maybe gained a yard on that.
Little trick play there. Got out of bounds to stop the clock. Another opportunity here for Lansing Legacy. They're going to try probably something different here again.
Wasn't the quadruple, but they got the reverse going.
We'll see how they play it here on the 4th down at the Detroit 46. 4th down play with 15 seconds left to go here in the second quarter.
We'll see if they do a little hook and ladder here, or, is it Speaks just going to try to pull everybody downfield and use her legs and try to get a good 20 out of this here. So we'll see. Yeah, she's sending receivers to her right.
Detroit's going to have to stay on their toes here.
One slot out. Tight end up high in the shotgun, 4 receivers. There's a little handoff on the inside. It's only going to go for about 6, and it looks like with 8 seconds left.
Another curly shuffle by the quarterback there. She's going one way, cuts into the inside there. And that's a turnover and downs with 8 seconds left. Detroit gets the ball back with 8 seconds left here in the second quarter, down 13-0.
So a good defensive series there for Detroit. Again, the defense has, for the most part, played pretty well so far, holding Lansing to 13 here amongst the turnovers that really forced them down in the red zone. Those 2 inside the 10-yard line both times. So
Detroit's got one play here, probably one play, maybe 2 if they're lucky. They get out of bounds. Change it up, maybe a flea flicker.
The hook and ladder. 4 receivers. Gorsica in the shotgun. Motion. Sermile, and there's a penalty here as
looks like there was motion, or they'll go against the Prowl. Add 5 to that. Lost a second on that one, on that play, the invisible play there.
And 5 yards to their play.
So they're waiting for the play, and it's coming in slow. And I hear a little dissension, heard that up here in the booth.
Well, somebody needs to take control and get that team fired up. That might be her right there. Sometimes teams need to wake up here.
Stromile trying to get to the outside. There's a flag on the play as there's going to be a legal block in the back, and it's going to bring this run back.
So that ran the clock out. Looks like a clip, as you said. Mike Vitale.
The penalty may be declined. It is. So we'll go to the half here from Mark Eglin Field, Frank, with the score. The Lansing Legacy 13, the Detroit Prowl nothing. And your take from the first half? I know we said it enough times, but.
Well, they kept it close. They tightened up there late in the second quarter. Lansing really could pull ahead here. They've got an uphill battle offensively. The defense has stiffened up, and they were good last weekend. But that offense has to think they have to figure something out here. They got to keep this game close in the third and fourth quarter to have a chance, and they need to get some points on the board.
So we'll go to the half here, grab your favorite beverage, come back for some exciting second half AWFL football here from Mark Eglin Arena, or Field, on Go Live Sportscast.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
you'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Make a plan today.
Where's your emergency?
Everyone's on their way. What happened? She's dead? Yes, please get my mom and dad. Oh my God!
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school.
It's been so amazing to be able to give our child the life that we kind of pictured us having, even though we didn't really have that.
I've been in foster care my whole life.
He's so strong to just be able to leave that all behind and still be able to take care of his daughter and be a good husband.
Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone.
We've been through so much in our life, and he never used that as an excuse, but as motivation to do better.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Hey, can you chop the pineapple? Chop the pineapple.
Nope, I'm high. How about I wash off the grapes?
Yes.
Okay. You're already making good decisions when you're high.
I want tacos. Will you drive? I'm a little toasty.
Nope, I'm high. Let's order in. Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
How prepared
Hey, hello, everyone. Great to have you back on Go Live Sportscast here for second half action here from Mark Eglin Field in Allen Park, where the Detroit Prowl, the home team here against the Lansing Legacy, find themselves down by 13 at the half, Frank. And, again, the points happened in a matter of a few moments at the first half. What's Detroit got to do here coming out in the second?
Well, they got a little bit of wind still going. You see the flags on the goalposts. Coach Vitale, he had to talk to his team, maybe gave out chocolate chip cookies or something to his players, try to sweeten them up here. The team definitely has to score. They have to get some points on the board. Their defense has been standing up. Their turnovers, they got to cut those turnovers out, completely cut them out. Got to play tight defense, got to get some offensive points and keep this game close here. They're just, right now, they're just in a funk, their offense. And Lansing gets the ball here at the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah, we heard some rumblings all the way up to the press box. A couple of players yelling at the sidelines about getting plays in, and when you start having that little dissension, and you're kind of frustrated, you start voicing it towards the sidelines. The players start voicing it towards each other. They're going to have to find some kind of flow. Some kind of momentum flow,
when that happens, one of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to get your team fired up and they're going to play better, or they're going to play worse and hate each other. One of the two is going to happen here.
And we're going to see what is going to happen here as there's a kick down to the 20-yard line. It rolls out of bounds, and there'll be a flag on the play, and ball will come out to the – they will start it at the 40-yard line.
Well, I wouldn't call that a bad penalty on the kickoff because, losing 5 yards or so on that kickoff that went out of bounds.
Yeah, I thought they usually start at 35, isn't it? So the 35-yard line they're moving when it's kicked out of bounds.
Because things could have been a lot worse there. I mean, that kind of penalty is not bad to take on a kickoff, thinking that, if you kick it straight to them and they return it 30, 40 yards, that's a lot more damage.
So Speaks, Stanislawski in the backfield, they did a lot of damage that first half. Prowl had to come up with some big defensive plays, and here's that formation again that they have. Speaks in the shotgun, Stanislawski behind her, 5 yards. There's the handoff off the left side. Stanislawski keeps those legs chugging. She's met there and brought down after a carry of 6.5 yards.
Well, she just blew through a hole on the line and kept on carrying a couple of the Prowl players with her. Good first offensive play, a run from Lansing, and they're on their way to getting to the midfield mark here early in the third quarter.
So we'll see also how conditioning comes into play. Nice cool down nicely here. No humidity. Beautiful spring evening on the eve of Mother's Day tomorrow. And a lot of these players here, not only moms but family. And so wishing everybody happy Mother's Day. Second down here and about 3.5. Speaks in the shotgun, rolls to the right, pitches to the right to Stanislawski. She's met in the backfield, covered by the ankle. Oh, Stanislawski pushing forward. An illegal pass, she got it back, but that is going to be a penalty. You can't throw the ball forward.
Could have been a fumble, classified as a fumble, a big opportunity for Detroit to capitalize on it, and they just couldn't get their hands on it. It's not more of a fumble than anything, and she recovered it.
Well, it could have been, first of all, the play was a lateral, right? She got it behind her, so maybe that was, and if anything, a pass. I mean, it was you tried throwing the ball.
If the arm was moving forward.
Yeah.
But a big opportunity Detroit could have capitalized on. Good defensive play.
So third down and 11. Big play there regardless, and Stanislawski lines up to the right of Speaks. She'll just drop back. She fires it. There's open and dropped.
Nice call there by Lansing. Had a player open. Just went off the hands. They ran that play, a lot of passing plays practice before the game, and they were notching those out, and that was a big opportunity there. Lansing now put in the situation of 4th down and looks like about 11. They'll punt this ball away. Good defensive stand by Detroit.
They had Stalswick on that. Stanswick just couldn't corral that in. Here's a bounce to the punter. She gets off a good one. Booms it downfield. Not touched by the Prowl. It'll take a bounce for the Legacy and now bounce all the way to the and be down at the Prowl 25-yard line where they'll take over with 12-17 here left to go in the third quarter.
Well, Lansing got a bounce there, got a couple of breaks. So far, Lansing's been getting all the breaks, but they've been making some breaks themselves here. And Detroit's got to put something together offensively here down on their, looks like about the 25-yard line.
So wind still
26.
Yeah, wind still kind of blowing in Gorsica's face, coming from her right across the field. So we'll see what kind of play call here, Coach Vitale. And it looks like there's already a little mix-up. Gorsica's got to take her end there and put her back in the position. Put up front there by Legacy. They stack the line. Patman gets it, spins off one, and rolls for about 2 more, but 4 total on the play. And there's a flag down.
So a handoff to the right side of the offensive line. Couldn't get much there. Got hooked up, spinned a little, maybe 2-3 yards.
Offsides on Lansing, so that'll be +5.
They'll take that 5 yards here.
Repeat first down.
Take that 5 over that 3 instead of, and keep a first down.
So a little motion, jamming that motion player into the middle of the line here, trying to stop is number 42 for Lansing in the middle of the guard there. There's Patman again, runs right at him, and she gets about 2 yards on that.
Looks like the same identical play they ran before and drew the penalty there, so looked like they got about the same amount of yardage too, maybe less. This will be a second down and short. Actually, second down about 3 yards. They have some options here on second down, Detroit. See what they go with here.
Got some big bodies in 42 and 44 clogging up the middle for Lansing. They're going to have to find a way to get away from them. And in the I formation, Patman in the backfield there. She stiffs arms one, rolls out to the 40, keeps her legs moving, and falls down at the 41.5-yard line to move the sticks for a first down.
Good play just to get that first down. Start with some fresh downs here, about the 42-yard line. Working their way, keeping that ball out of the hands of Lansing.
Substitution made. Tarika Overman comes in. Patman lining up in the backfield. Set. Hamilton in front of her. There's a fumble there on the ground, and Lansing will drop on that, and another unfortunate turnover by the Prowl.
Well, it looks like there was some kind of confusion on the handoff. Don't know exactly what the play was designed, but the bad handoff and a bad turnover for Detroit, and the Detroit defense is going to have to stand up again here. It's put on their shoulders again here at the 10-minute and 3-second mark here of the third quarter.
Boy, oh boy, Coach Vitale cannot be happy at the execution of his offense thus far in all season. It's like, 2 plays for gain a bunch of yards, a couple penalties to take you back the yardage you gained, and then a turnover.
It just seems like it's been a struggle. the games that we've seen here offensively. Just can't put a good drive together.
So Lansing with the ball inside of Prowl territory at the 41. Speaks, drops, looking around, covered. Speaks, pressure from the backside and down. Stromile.
Had all kinds of time. Didn't know she had a defender coming on the backside. Finally, they got her down as she was there with that ball for quite a while, and defense stands up again here for the Prowl.
Big defensive play there. And bring up second down and close to 20 now. Lansing going over, getting the play in late at this point.
Detroit defense, they need a turnover. They need to create a turnover. Get that ball back for their offense.
Stacking up a little closer in the box there. One safety far back. Speaks, pulls it down, hits her own player. She's tackled in the background. Looks like Curse has her arms around her, and she'll be sacked. Another big play as Curse got in there to wrap up Speaks. Third down.
Trying to choke that ball out for a fumble. Just couldn't get it out as a quarterback wrapped that ball up and kept it safe there. Another loss as Detroit's defense is coming in big time right now.
Some fantastic plays there, and this is a little what they needed to get that offensive in gear. Sitting on the sidelines watching, hopefully it'll get them a little motivated. But nonetheless, the defense coming up big here, pushing Lansing back. Third down and half of a football field almost. Speaks. Quick pass up the middle.
Oh,
Stromile picks it up. Stromile back. She gets it up to 50-yard line, and a big pickoff by Stromile.
There's the turnover they needed. We talked about that, and this is going to help them big time. That defense has stood up all game, and they made the play they needed to make right now to put the offense, get the offense going and get back in this game.
Boy, I tell you, it's a – and there is a holding penalty on the play that will be declined on the offense. And Stromile, I tell you, you have an unfortunate bobble and a turnover on that punt, and then all of a sudden a couple of these, she comes back with her own turnover herself. So
a pass deflected by the first Prowl defender and picked up by the second defender, and there's your turnover here at the 8-minute mark of the third quarter.
So ball right at midfield. You got a sputtering offense. You've got the crowd back into it, and they're breathing a little some expectations here right now. Let's see if Gorsuch can put this team on her back a little bit and start barking out these orders, and she is right now, trying to get these formations correct. She's set up under the center. I formation. Patman up the right side. Patman still being pushed forward. She got almost 5 yards on that.
Little ground and pound there. Handoff got 5. A good situation to be in. It's about a 2nd and 5. 2nd and just maybe 6.
And so they're still keeping on the ground off that left side. So you're going to want to keep pounding on that left side.
Just carry the rock. Carry it hard. That offensive line's going to have to open up some holes. Looks like they're going to keep it on the ground most of this game.
Oh, there's a jump there, and sure enough, that fake blitz automatically got the
5 yards against Detroit.
Oh, and a veteran play there defensively by the Legacy.
They're going to try. You're going to probably.
Oh, and they said that she crossed the line.
So she was past the line according to the.
Maybe made some contact there with the player, and so a big break for the Prowl. And you never can tell until the refs make that call, right? Can't assume anything. Legacy looking to come up higher there. Gorska rolls out to the right, stiff arm, to the 38-yard line and out of bounds, and a late hit push there.
Looking for a flag, nothing happening there. Crowd gets a little pushy there on the Detroit sidelines.
And nothing transpires. Just talking about the ref a little bit, and
finally Detroit's starting to show a heartbeat here, a pulse.
They're saying, hey, listen, we've had a bunch of flags on us. Can we get one, please?
Time for some home cooking. Here at the 6:20 mark of the third quarter, Detroit's fired up, moving that inside the 40-yard line of Lansing.
Stromile now in the backfield. Hamilton, the halfback. She puts it to the I formation now. Gorska looks around, rolls to the right. Stromile gets the patch there. Stromile, little inside, spins around to the 40, to the 38, gets pulled backwards, and she'll stop there behind the line of scrimmage.
Slow developing play all the way to the outside. Lansing sniffed it out due to the slow development there and didn't gain anything. In fact, lost a couple yards on that play.
So I was surprised he went that way right into the wind. You saw how the wind took the ball where Stromile had to reach back.
She had to wait for that
wait
ball.
for the ball to reach back and then, try to turn her body forward. By that time, way too late, converged on and loss of a couple.
Now,
so,
if that play was this way where the wind was blowing the ball, that might have had a different result.
So we'll see what's here. They're lined up strong left. Hamilton and now Patman in the backfield. Patman gets the ball to the left side, and she's taken down on the interior defensive lineman by number 42, who, again, at Lennox, inside the interior lineman for defensive player for Lansing has had a strong game for them.
Well, Detroit had some momentum. Now it's starting to slow down here. Back-to-back plays with not much yardage. They're going to have to capitalize here big time on third down. Looks like a 3rd and 10 here.
Gorska will stay up under the center. Patman, another left side. Patman down to the 29-yard line, close to the first down, just short. It'll bring up 4th down.
So it looks like a 4th and 3. You got to go for it here. You got to keep the momentum going, keep moving that ball forward. Maybe they can go with a different type play. Actually, going to be a 4th and 2.
Yeah, they're going to have to try. We'll see. They keep running off that left side. They're trying to stay away from those interior defenders, 44 and 42 respectively. Some big bodies of that defensive line for the Legacy.
Well, since they got the short side of the field over here, they might have to go to the right on this play to pick up this 4th down.
Well, those two defensive players keep switching up. Now they're stacked to the left this time. Everybody up pretty much for the Legacy. They're expecting run on this play. Patman in the background, in the backfield, and
looks like a delayed game or timeout Detroit.
So Coach Vitale may have seen something that he didn't like, noticed that, and said, let's just not play around to support time to game, call a timeout. So we'll be back after this timeout on the Go Live Sportscast.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter which you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you.
Welcome back. Hope you were able to refill your beverage. We are sitting here with a short yardage situation, 4th down here, big time of the game here, with the Prowl down by 13 points. Everybody up for Lansing. They kind of jumped there, no flag. There's Patman on the inside, and she's going to be close. And where are they going to spot this ball? And they look like they want a chain measurement, or they're
looks like it's going to be tight there.
It's going to be
Tommy.
close.
It's both teams are calling for it. This one looks like it's going to be there. Looks like they're going to have to bring the chains in, possibly here.
So there's a measurement coming out
no,
here.
It might be short where that ball is marked. It's going to be awfully close if they bring those chains in. All the refs are talking it over right now.
So you can get to Barstools real quick and phone in whether they got the first down or not. It's close, you know.
How many referees out there? There's 5 of them. I don't know. It might be a coin flip or something going on here.
I don't. They're trying to.
It might be our angle too. That it's definitely real tight. If you look as best we can here from our vantage view here.
Well, you got 2 of the. You got volunteers that are holding the sticks there, right? So it's going to be like, who are they? They're going to walk it out crooked, or they're going to walk it.
Home cooking.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're that close, I'd say, hey, as someone mentioned in the box, home cooking.
Coach Vitale
right?
now talking to his ref here.
Trying to
see what he has to say here. If only I had ears down there. Coach Vitale looking up here now.
Yeah, so they're not they want to make sure that the refs are taking the chains out there.
Here comes the chain gang. We'll see. This is going to be tight. What's the odds here? Nice shot from our camera. Good camera work here. Stretch that, baby.
First down. Oh, but
that was a close one.
Just by the nose tip. Boy, oh, boy.
Good spot there by the referees. This drive continues as the Prowl, by about 2 inches, pick up the first down. Lansing's not too excited about that. 2:48 left to go here in the third quarter. Still down 13-0, Tommy.
That was a big first down here, Frank.
Time to shake things up a little.
Yeah, for sure.
The chains are still out there. I think the Lansing wants a recall.
And that win now is picked up. The flag blowing straight out. So now the
chains are moving over to this side.
Well, probably so that the chain personnel couldn't hear the Lansing bench chirp at them. So they said, hey, let's go let's cross the field here. You took enough abuse from the players over here, the coach.
We'll go with a good side.
Yeah, we'll go over to the
whatever side we were on.
Yeah. So, again, a new set of downs here. They get a little breather on top of it, a little relaxed for the offense. They've been on this field for a while. They get a little breather, a little fresh wind blowing in their face, and let's see what's up the sleeve of Coach Vitale here coming out of this first down. They line up in the eye. Patman. Patman met in the backfield, but she spins for a couple. And that'll be second down.
Well, Lansing was ready for that handoff. They were sniffing it out there, and they were in the backfield quickly. And looks like we have a Prowl player down.
So she was caught in the middle of that that play to the right there, and And as a
looks like
offensive lineman there, you get these players that you get rolled up on sometimes behind you as you tackle and they roll on you and you don't see it coming, and we hope she's okay. And
sure
with that, what we'll do is we'll take a little break here on Go Live Sportscast and go grab your favorite beverage and make sure you call your mom. Call your mom and come right back.
Find one at discovertheforest.org.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes.
Make a plan today.
Welcome back. Go Live Sportscast, and the injured player for the Prowl is happy to see up on her feet and off the field, Frank.
So that was Jacree Allen. So she's up and brought to the sidelines. Big offensive line person there.
And we resume to the second down and about 7.5 and 8. The Prowl with this long drive now needs some points on the board. Back to the I formation. Hand off to Patman again, the right side. Patman finds a large hole. She's around there. She's got some room. She's laying inside the 10 and out at the 6-yard line.
Good run. They found an opening on that right side. Just bounced it to the outside. She kept on going to the outside. Big run there by Detroit. Move the chains here. Close to the, looks like about the 8-yard line. First and goal.
So beautiful. She was pushed out actually about the 8-yard line. So the Prowl here, threatening here with 1:30 left in the third. Nice long drive. Hamilton rolls in front of Patman. Patman gets the ball again. She tries the left side, runs into nothing but legacy there, and she's pushed back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe lost a yard on that. Second down.
Same play, went to the left side. Not much luck there that time, so we'll have a second down and goal here at about the 8-yard line. Maybe the 7.
So we'll see what the Prowl will end up doing here. A little raggle in the offense is maybe try to do something up top. A little deep post pattern up top. Same lineup, Stramile in there. Stramile will get the ball. Stramile finds a little hole there to the 4-yard line, thrown down at the 3.5.
They're going to give her the ball and make her pound that in, ground and pound. We got another player down on that last offensive play. Looks like she picked up about 3 there. Maybe see where our spot is on that ball.
So that's a good. I like that. Oh,
looks like we got a flag too.
So it looks like a late flag. Everyone's concentrating on the player, and a late flag looks to be holding on the Prowl, which will bring that ball back. And
they put themselves, if that's against Detroit,
another 10 yards back, so they'll be at the 16-yard line. And boy, oh boy, you just can't
shoot yourself in the foot. How many bullets can you put in your foot?
Man,
looks like Swiss cheese.
So
had a big opportunity right down deep in their Lansing end, and they're making these penalties again. That's just putting them out of the game.
I do like that that last move where you have Patman as the bruising, north-south runner. You give the ball to Stramile, who may have the ability with her speed to reach that corner, to keep that defense off kiltered a little bit, keep them guessing. Right now it's been just right, left, right, left, right.
and then back over to the left.
And then 10 yards back, 5 yards back. So hopefully they could cut that out right now.
They need to run behind Allison Reese. She's the pulling guard on the offensive line. Here we go.
Stromile again to the outside. Oh, she gets horse collared there, and boy, oh boy.
No flag yet.
They said either it may have been, it was hard to tell whether it was the horse collar or the hair, but it was definitely had her hair. That's what it looked like. She and swung her down by her hair.
Well, regardless if it was hair or horse collar, clothesline, whatever, there should have been a penalty on that play.
So that's, it's one of the tough calls. I'm sure we have the replay, but it's one of those calls. If you got to watch that horse collar, I don't know if there is anything about tackling by the hair. You can, even if you get by their hair, it's like that's why maybe you shouldn't have tuck it in the helmet or something. That's
is hair in play?
I think hair is, you could, but Stromile gets back up. She's no worse for wear. She shakes it off, and she's all right. Back up after that, and that brought the end to the third quarter. We're going to the fourth quarter here.
So his switch ends here. Detroit, this is going to be a third down play. Got a lot of yards to cover here. This is 4 down territory now here going into the fourth quarter. They need to get some points on the board. They can't get shut out here again. They need to keep in this game. Their defense has stood up.
So they got a long third down and in goal here. 2 plays to get there. Patman follows the blockers, met right in the middle by who else? The tandem 44 and 42 of Legacy, who've been all over the Prowl defensively today.
So now we're at a fourth down here, 4th and goal. What can the Prowl come up with here?
Well, you know that Lansing is just going to be sitting back, right? So we'll see if Gorsica goes to the shotgun. No, she's going to line up under center. Patman in the backfield. Hamilton slides just to the left. A fumble there. Patman does pick it up, though, fortunately, but nonetheless, Legacy are going to get the ball on downs at their own 15-yard line.
Well, Detroit had their opportunities there. Get back in this game, and they turn it over on downs. They were knocking on the door, and they just couldn't put it in. Self-inflicting wounds again here for Detroit. And Lansing will get this ball with 14-17 to go here in the fourth quarter with a 13-0 lead.
And it was hopefully got, the Prowl defense that have been coming up pretty big all game so far for them when they need them. Hopefully they can keep this Lansing team inside their zone and inside that 10-yard line and force them to punt the ball away here.
Well, they're going to count on their defense. Their defense has been there all day, and they're going to have to make another big stop or get a turnover here.
So here we go. Speaks now up under center for really the first time. And there's the handoff. A little up the left side a lot. Down to the 30. One run to beat. Down to the 40. Runs right past her. She's got nothing by Green. 30. 20. 10. Touchdown Legacy. 85-yard scamper there. And a big, huge run.
Wow. Just took that ball to the outside and blew by all the Detroit Prowl players. No flags, that's going to count. And that stretched it out to a 19-0 game. Quick turn of events there. That fourth down that didn't happen for Detroit. First play from scrimmage for Lansing, and boom, off to the races.
Wow. Where was she all game? Good thing they didn't have her in there earlier. That was a boy. What a some speed on that girl. Here's the kick, and add that to make it 20. So, Frank, boy, dagger to the heart on that, and now you're down 20-0 with 13:59 left to go here in the fourth. I'm sorry.
Well, Detroit's in the situation that they had Miffa in their 2 games. They shut them out in 2 games. So far, Lansing has shut out Detroit in their 2 games. 35-0 and 20. They've hung 20 so far here at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
I would like to, if I was, again, it's easy to be the armchair coach, right? Whatever, right? So, but sitting up here, and I tell you what, I would just say, hey, listen, we're down 20. Let's just open it up now, right? Let's get the passing plays in there. Let's get Gorska's arm loose. She can throw the ball. Let her try to air it out a little bit. I know methodically some of the coaches might look if there's tiebreakers and what if, but you really don't even know if you're going to make the playoffs, what's going to happen in the next couple weeks. You got to take it one at a time, right? So just open up the offense. Let them throw the ball downfield. Let's see,
Let's have some experimental
football right on,
At this point, I mean, what's the difference if it's 30-0 or 20-0?
Well, some of the coaches look at if there's tiebreakers in this situation. We heard coaches say beforehand, well, we had to run up the score because there's tiebreakers, or we had to do this, or we didn't do this because of tiebreakers. There's Kirsch. She kind of slips down, loses her footing, but she's down at the 37-yard line. So,
yeah, definitely an opportunity for Detroit here. You got nothing to lose. You got to get some points on the board, get some confidence for your offense. Try to find some plays that are going to work here as the fourth quarter with 13:52 left to go here, down 20-0.
So it's going to be very interesting to see. Let's see if Gorska can bark out some here. She's looking at her wrist at the play calls. Patman goes to the sidelines. Looks like they may have Stromile in there. There's a late. Now you get the players in there.
Now quickly going back. They're down 13-0. Detroit's driving. They have the opportunity. They don't capitalize. They shoot themselves in the foot with penalties, and the game is quickly turned. It could have been 13-6, 13-7, and a whole different game in a matter of plays, and now we're at 20-0.
Yeah, it's sure it's frustrating for all the Prowl involved.
It's situation football, where it could have been and where it's at now if things could have been laid out different or happened or developed.
So here's Gorska back in the shotgun. 3 receivers split to the right. The back goes in motion to the right. There's a little hook. Gorska looking. She lets it go, and that's misses everybody and out of bounds. 2nd down.
Well, it's a good opportunity for her to air it out a little bit here. Let's see what she's got. Let's see if her receivers can handle her passes.
As Dorina Piquette was the attended receiver on that. And
let's see if they can get some stick-em on their hands and gobble that ball up and pull it in.
So Gorska looking. They're having a little slow delay with the plays coming in there again.
Things definitely have cooled off here in the late going as the sunset goes down here in Allen Park.
Gorska lines up from the shotgun again. Patman in the backfield. Again, 3 receivers split. We'll see if this is almost the same play with Patman running to the right side this time. There she goes in motion. There's a line there. Gorska looks back. Here comes a rush over the middle and through the arms of Cece. And that'll be 3rd down. So at least they're trying some experiments up, but it hasn't been on the mark at all.
Definitely. I mean, you got nothing to lose at this point. Let's throw the ball a little bit. If we go down in downs, we go down in downs. Just kick it away. We got to keep on working on these plays and make them develop. And
so we could be Could have Gorsuch all of a sudden pulling the ball down, running out. 3 receivers split left. Patman goes to the left this time.
Look out.
Look out, and a fumble as Gorsuch gets hit, but Prowl fall on the ball as Gorsuch got rocked. Didn't see the back coming from her.
She was looking
right.
left, and she came forward quickly and just got rocked loose possession of that ball. Luckily, Detroit recovered it, but it's going to be a punting situation here with lost yardage, and that Lansing Legacy player just turned on the afterburners and pounced on that one.
Looks like it was Kirby Derby, number 22, on that play. Got around that. No one took her, really. Someone missed that blocking assignment, and
she was looking the opposite way and wasn't caught blindsided, just looking the other way.
So 4th down here. Punt. There's a snap. Kick away. Takes a bounce. Rolls all the way back down inside the 34, 33, and a 32.5-yard line now, where the Legacy will come out with a 20-0 commanding lead and 10:42 here left to go in the 4th quarter.
So that, you didn't capitalize on those 4 downs or 3 downs, and you had to punt it away. That's not a bad situation, without turning over the ball. You tried a few things. You couldn't capitalize on them. You couldn't hit a receiver. You couldn't hold on to the ball. But at least you put your defense back out there and see if they can hold them again.
And again, it has to be tough also. I mean, I think maybe Gorsuch had thrown 1 pass the whole game thus far. You got the temperature starts to cool down, and, her arm cools down. I didn't see her throwing on the sidelines at all, and it would make sense that if you're going to start doing that, you got to start getting that arm loose on the sidelines, right? So didn't see her do that. And now you're forced to come out and throw 3 balls in a row and didn't exactly hit your target. Here's a blitz there and maybe offsides. We'll see. Fumble. The ball is loose. And they point to the Prowl ball. So big call there, Frank, on the defensive turnover. And
well, that was huge. Good play by the defense. Defense has been straight up all day here for the Prowl. Opportunity for Detroit to try some more plays here in the Legacy end here territory.
Huge defensive play there, or mistake, call it you want. I like to call it defensive play for the Prowl. Huge defensive play. And as you mentioned, no worse for wear now. Their time to try to get something to get back in this ball game, and they do have time. 10:36 left on the clock.
Well, they need to get on the board. They need to connect on some passes. She needs to pass to her right to go with that wind.
Well, now they got a couple backs. They're backing up a little out of the box, so they're respecting the pass a little more. You open up some running lanes. You got Patman split. You got Hamilton split. Gorska's going to throw it up, and she does. But she misses her receiver. It was intended for Pritchett, and just a little in front of her. 2nd down.
Ball was thrown down into the turf, too low. Not a good route to run and throw the ball. Time to go a little bit deeper, maybe down the middle, run some routes in the middle. Let the DBs catch up to your receivers.
And that is one of the 2 ex-Lions daughters that are on the team. So Kelvin Pritchett's daughter, and then you have Rodney Glover's daughter, Laurie Glover's also on the team. 2 ex-Lions that their daughters representing here. So that shows you AWF football league. Gorska scrambles around, tries to find a lane. She does. She shakes loose to the left. She's over to the 28-yard line, pushed out of bounds at about the 27.
So she gets a few yards here, stops the clock, out of bounds.
So you start backing these defenders off a little. They're had no fear earlier in this contest. They were lining everybody up in the box, and they weren't even rushing them. Now you throw 3 passes, you go for a 4th one and out of the last 6 plays, and now you start to back those defenders off. And even though that Gorska didn't have anything, looking down the field, she was still able to use her legs. She wasn't, met immediately by a legacy defender. So with that being said, bringing up 3rd down now, and about 5.5, if you will. Gorska looking to the sidelines, maybe play out, switch she doesn't. She's got Patman in the backfield. Oh, there's a switch. There's a play, and it wasn't Gorsica.
Another play, a little pass to the outside there, just thrown into the turf too low. They're getting set up for the 4th down here.
So there's been a substitution. The backup quarterback is in for the Prowl. Throws back, takes a look around, throws it out. And it's intercepted.
Pick 6.
Barry, all the way down. She's got nothing but Greenfield. She might do a little flip it to the end zone. She'll just run it in there. Lansing Legacy. Touchdown.
Well, that ball just came out of her hands, just floated there. That the DB just watched for that. She saw that, and her eyes just lit up like diamonds when she saw that ball floating in the air.
So a 73-yard pickoff. And
pick 6, and that will
we don't know exactly what happened to, if it could have been that hit Gorska took earlier, why she was not in the game. Is Lori Brown had come in for those last couple plays, and unfortunately was baited into throwing that ill-advised pass outside.
Well, the DB for Lansing was just prowling over there, no pun intended, and just picked that up, and just nobody in front of her, just green.
Frank, I think you could have picked that up and you wouldn't have been caught. I think you could have.
I could have ran backwards.
You could have bumbled in there. There's a high snap. It's ended up Stanislawski. She's met by a couple Prowl and won't go anywhere, and the 2-point conversion is nil. So 7:40 left here to go. It's still a 26-point lead for the Legacy.
Now, we said Detroit's got to open it up. They open it up a little, and, you can't fault them for that, for opening it up and trying to make an effort to change things up here in the game late in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, that's a little tough though.
Your starting quarterback goes out. You got a new quarterback cold off the sidelines, and she floats one up there, not reading the DB coming in. Looks like that's Asia Thomas that's down for Detroit right now.
Yeah, should be. Looks like she's all right, being helped up, and it's always a good sign. I know the Prowl have had a couple injuries, and you don't like to see. This is a contact sport. You don't like to see that, and you want to get out of this contest with everybody healthy going into the next contest. And the next contest is, again, next week against that team from Carolina, Frank.
The Tigers are going to be here.
So
the Carolina Tigers.
You can get your tickets at DetroitProwl.com and get some tickets for next week's contest here, Mark England Field. And here's the Prowl. Deep Curse with it. Curse looking out at the 40. Kurt tries a inside hash mark, spins out to the 50, down at inside Lansing territory at the 49-yard line.
Detroit's still the champs until they get dethroned here. Back-to-back champs, Detroit Prowl. And, if you're going into the playoffs with a 2-3 record, or actually it's going to be possibly they're going to want to go in there with a 3-3 record if they drop today's game. who knows what can happen.
Nice catch.
Your offense has got to get things ironed out here. But seems like the offense has really got to work on a lot of things in order to get it smoothing it out on plays and developing plays. So we got the new QB in here.
Lurie Brown. So Lurie Brown is now we got to find out what happened. I imagine Ali Gorska, that blindside hit probably rattled something a little bit. Now there's flags all over the field. So we got a legal substitution or time or legal substitution on the Prowl. And
they'll move them back 5 yards. They'll do it again.
Yeah, move them back before they started. That's a tough one.
Well, it's good that the new quarterback gets some reps in here. See what she's got, got to bounce back after that last pass that was picked off and see what she can do.
So looking at two backs, receiver high to Patman. Patman gets spun around there at the line of scrimmage and maybe got one on the play.
So it'll still be second down and long here. 7:13 and ticking away here in the fourth quarter.
Same formation, quick snap. Brown off to Patman. There's a little dump pass out to the front. Is that a no incomplete pass? So a little trickery there and incomplete. We got a timeout on the play. Prowl will call that one.
Weird play developed there. I didn't know exactly if that was the exact play that was written out there. It was more like an alley-oop pass. Trying to move it out front.
When they work, but when they don't, everyone scratches their head and goes, why don't you just keep it simple? That's the tough part. It's one of the things that you do as a head coach. And, Coach Vitale knows his staff better than anybody. He's with them in a practice. He's with them. He knows what their shortcomings are. He does know. And it's easy to sit up here and try to, scratch your head and think about that stuff. But I'm sure there is a method, and he sees stuff differently than what we see.
Coach Vitale definitely has some challenges with the offense to get them clicking, get them running, getting passing, getting a good mixture of plays in order to get on the board. Their defense has been solid, except for, maybe one or two plays.
And again, after coming off, as you said, back-to-back, but one of the biggest things, we spoke with Coach earlier was the players that he had lost. Trying to replace them was his concern.
Speaking of that, so Lansing got a few of the players. I was talking to the Lansing coaches. They got 2 or 3 players that were on the previous Detroit Prowl team.
Up the left side, met heavily there and down maybe for a couple is Lindsay Cece on that carry.
So where do you go from here? You got to practice. You got to work harder. You got to make things work. Vitale's got to get his offense going. You see him right now on the sidelines barking orders. He's going to work this team and work things out here for future games. They're not done yet.
Brown directing traffic, shuffling people around up and back that line. Patman up the middle. Patman's met there at midfield, trying to fight off a couple. She's still rolling around outside, and finally the refs blow the whistle and says, hey, we'll give you midfield. And that'll bring up
fourth down here.
Turnover on downs. That wasn't Patman on the play. It was it was Cece again.
So it looks like they'll punt on 4th down this time with 5:53 left to go in the 4th quarter. Detroit down 26-0.
So as we go into, Mother's Day, Frank, want to wish again, mothers are wonderful. And if it wasn't for our moms, really none of this would be happening on the field here today.
Right,
Or in the broadcast booth.
That's
that's
a given.
So that's why it is
you got that
good
right
to take the moms.
Who says you're wrong?
That's right. There's a snap, little mix-up in the backfield, but Stanislaw will take it way wide right, run out of territory there, and pushed off for a couple-yard loss.
Well, that's one of those runs you ran more east and west. Give her -2 on the forward and 35 on the east and west.
I put in the GPS here. It's Mark Eglin Field, and I don't want anybody to be confused because it even says, you put on where you're going on your social media pages, and it's Mark England they have on social media. So we want to make sure.
Yeah, we don't want anybody to go to England.
No, Mark Eglin Field here, and we are happy to be here at this nice facility. I'm waiting for the train to roll through in the background. It's always a beautiful scenery there. Last week it was too late for Toronto to catch the CNN train back when it rolled through. But it's a nice scenario here. We hope you come out to watch this football. Meantime, here, the Legacy trying to extend the sticks a little more, and they get about 6 yards on that. It'll bring up 3rd down and long for the Legacy.
Good-looking crowd here today, and Prowl fans come to see their team. They supported them last week in a kind of a cold day here, like a fall-like day, and they're here again. Lansing brought some of their fans too. It's good to see that their fans travel on the road, and hopefully next week we have another good crowd here in Allen Park for the final home game of the season against the Carolina Tigers.
Yeah, and that is a key. It's very, very good to see the community backing up this growing sport. So we're glad you're here with us today. There's Speaks now. She pitches the ball out to Sansom, almost overhead, but a good recovery there and out of bounds, and she'll get about 2 more yards, but still will bring up 4th and about 4. So
good opportunity for Coach Vitale to bring in some of those players that don't get much time on the field, see what they got, what they can do. Legacy's going to punt this one away here, it looks like. Unless that's a double shotgun there.
Yeah, if they've been lined up in that formation, it doesn't look any different. You put Speaks in the middle, that would about how far the receiver was. And look out, the sideline is off the side of the foot, and that was a shanked punt.
You're on the sideline. Keep your eyes open and your mouth shut.
That's right.
That ball was low. It was shanked to the right.
It was a booming punt of about 10 yards.
Just a bit wide.
So instead of backing him up, the Prowl now. Decent position here. Got to get on the scoreboard just to take some talking points home. I mean, you don't want to go 2 games in a row with a shutout by Lansing. So I'm sure they're looking for. It won't be too conservative here. Lurie Brown again. She's in for Allie Gorsica, who came out of the game a few series ago after taking a punishing hit on the backside. Brown rolls out. She's converged on, nowhere to go, and it's a loss of 3 yards.
Looks like she was going to pass that ball. Just couldn't get the opportunity to look for somebody open. Slowed down, tried to turn the corner, and got bottled up there. She's got a little bit of a limp right now, too. Good to see her on the field and playing, though. There's going to be opportunities here for your backup quarterback through the season when you're going to have to play. You're going to have to show what you got.
Need one more. They're yelling to the coach on the sidelines. They're counting. They're short a player. They're running out of time. They only have 10 players in that huddle. And
quickly, that was Rocky Pritchett coming out on the field, number 39.
There's a throw, and little too hot to handle on there. Tried to reach out with one-hander and just couldn't corral it in. Passing. And we're down to the 2-minute mark. Time will stop here. And 26-0 the lead. And why don't you buckle yourself in for the final 2 minutes, Frank?
I'll buckle myself in.
Hey, what else? You have a few other things going on.
We got other
Sportscast.
things. Yeah,
So
we got next week's game. We've got some future things coming up on ESPN in August that I can't reveal at this point.
There you go.
So, in fact, we just signed our new contract with ESPN. In fact, I signed it yesterday. It's a pleasure doing that. I say, how many people get that opportunity, production companies, to produce and executive produce and shoot and put the play-by-play and put shows together? We're a very lucky business to do that, and I never take that for granted, and I'm always glad when that contract comes around.
Well, again, with your team, Kelly,
Dino, can't forget Dino
here. Oh, of course not. And great production crew, Go Live Sports. And the whistle will stop this play.
But we got some other things that we'll be bringing
Prowl.
you here in the summertime, possibly. We're working on right now out of state that might be some traveling. Oh, additional, I can't name it right now, but there's some new OTT channels. In fact, I'll be signing the contract this week on one that will be on probably starting in a couple of weeks. And it's going to be a big reach of reaching more people.
Well, there's no bigger reach than the Mullet Championships there.
The 2020.
That was
the Mullet Championship. I mean, it don't get much better. Business in the front, party in the back.
That was fantastic.
You still like that one?
In
fact,
like
I saw it was on ESPN at midnight, ESPN News the other night. If you go to ESPN News and play the upcoming schedule for like the dates ahead of time, and you'll see a lot of the shows that are in there, stone skipping, waiter waitress competition.
Yeah, and that's the great thing is all the fantastic archives that are there on Go Live Sports. Cast.com.
Yeah,
they're all great to watch. So you take it there. There's everything, a little bit of everything. Besides the soccer and the hockey and the football, there's the great things like the mullet and the waitress contests and the other things that the production company that Go Live Sports does. So I mean, it's fantastic. So we encourage you to go. Hey, take a look at it, spend some time, and you're going to find something for everybody there.
Right. The Stein Holding.
The Stein Holding was great. That was
Stein
fantastic.
Holding. If you go to ESPN, their YouTube channel. Our clip is on there. It's got over 7 million hits on it.
Wow.
Go to Stein Holding on ESPN YouTube channel. And that was a big hit, along with the pizza acrobatics. Yeah. We did that from Columbus. In fact, that was on part of the opener on SportsCenter, one of the clips, the pizza acrobatics, where they whipped the dough around. We did 3 of those shows for ESPN.
Yeah, it's that Stein. I tell you what, when you're trying to hold that beer stein for 9 minutes, people understand how difficult it is. But that's a long time, and it was.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's very easy by watching it, but that's 5 pounds. You got to keep your arm straight, completely straight.
Here's Patman with the carry. She loses the ball though after a nice gain, and Legacy will jump on that for another turnover and take over on the 40-yard line.
Well, Tommy, you got some things coming up here. The the Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's a big one here in Detroit. It's always a good gathering of the fast-paced. If you're not a race car fan, but you go downtown and you visit the Grand Prix, even go the free day on Friday, take the advantage and do it. You'll instantly fall in love. Just the sound, the spectacle of it.
And you've been on that for how many years now?
Yeah, for 13 now.
You've seen a lot of race.
Yeah, a lot of racing. So, a lot of racing. It's a fun time down there. So I encourage everybody that's coming up the end of next month. I encourage everybody, hey, take the family down. The Friday free day is great. It's really friendly for the people going down there. There's a lot of things to do. All the streets are open downtown. It's closed off. They're all open. So, and it's just a spectacle to behold. It's a great event put on by Penske Corporation, really. And here's the spin to the outside. Nothing going on. Couldn't get back to the sticks. And that'll bring up second down.
Now, where do you stay during the Grand Prix, during the actual race? Are you up in the grandstands, or where are you at?
Well, the media center office is like the first floor over on Diamo's along the back stretch along the river. So I see everybody coming right down there. But the track is so vast, and the drivers and the teams are so inviting that you're really just all over the place during the weekend. You know, and that's the fantastic. Everybody is so supportive of this event. And, you know, even the people that, you know, Roger Penske, you have to take your hat off to him. He's just a captain of motorsports here, and he's done so much for the city. It doesn't take any accolades for it. Very humble man, very good person, does a lot for the city. So second down, there's a pitch, a flag on the play, though, so this play is going to be dead as Stansel is just trying to pick her way through, but it may have been movement on the offense. We'll see. And it was. So that play will come back.
I was just wondering if you can get in the pit crew. That'd be. Have you been able to observe from a pit crew?
Yeah,
that's got to be kind of exciting.
It is something to behold for sure. So, no open hole shoes. No.
You can't wear your flip flops.
Can't wear the flip flops. Can't wear the shorts down there.
Look out for a hot tire coming in.
Yeah, you know, people don't understand that there's
coming in hot.
It's they're called marbles, right? You know the marbles, the tire that burns off. They're all over the place.
Right.
So
they got a caterer in the pit crew for you.
The Grand Prix is wonderful. Very, very well taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's anything for the media needs, which is really what should be at a lot of these events anyways. You're not asking for catering, everything, but we're very, very well taken care of. It is a worldwide event. It's Detroit's largest spectacle. It's shown in 153 countries around the world. So we have media from all over the world spending a week in Detroit. And it's the race after Indianapolis. So the drivers are coming from Indianapolis to Detroit. They don't have any time to celebrate. And speaking of celebrate, Legacy are going to celebrate here as we end this game with the Lansing Legacy 26, Detroit Prowl 0, Frank.
Well, another game that they just didn't capitalize offensively. And at turnovers, you know, they could have been in this game as there's a process there at the third quarter that just blew the game out of distance. And Detroit's going to have to work on their offense. Their defense has played a solid game, couple of mistakes, but they'll rebound this Detroit Prowl team. They'll be back. In fact, they'll be back next Saturday here against the Carolina Tigers. And I'm sure Vitale will have his team going and ready. And then there's the playoffs after that. And they've got time to get things together and put things together here. They're still the champs, back-to-back champs in two different leagues. And they're the champs until they get dethroned. So you got to give them the respect for that.
And with that being said, we, too, will also be back next week here. And we encourage you to come back with us. If you can't get down here, catch us on GoLiveSportsCast.com, 6 p.m. next Saturday on all of your favorite devices. I'm Tommy Morris, Frank Mazzella. We hope to see you next week.